Welcome to Learned and Go-Go, the podcast. Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday. I was going to say I sound better this week, and now I got a frog in my throat out of nowhere. I was sounding better this week. I am so excited to see so many people are already in the comments. So glad you are here. Luna Projects, Dustin, happy Wednesday. Kyler, hey, awesome. So glad you are here too. Kyler saying, hey, I'm doing great. I hope you are too. I'm great now. I'm on with you guys. It has been a day. It has been a day. But you know what? Sometimes you just have to decide. Like, I like to yell, pivot, and turn the day around. Be like, okay, plot twist. We are going to just turn it around from what it is now. And you know what's so funny? I just saw this banner and realized that I forgot to say, hey, my name's Sydnee, and I'm your host, and I'm also the author of Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. I am the worst at self-promoting, but I'm really glad that you're here. You can get your copy at learnedingogo.com. All right. So what I had started to say is, first of all, awesome. All right. So Johnny's here. Johnny made this shirt for me. All ships rise. Love it. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Oh, Looney, thanks for saying hi. Love you too. Thanks for hopping in. I know you have to get back to work, but love you. Yeah, so wait, why are we asking what did I eat or drink? Not sure if I do dairy. I love dairy. Dairy is my favorite. That has nothing to do with the way this day's gone, though. It was one of those nights where I love my puppy dogs. I love them so much. But they were just pains in my ass last night. So I was awake half the night. So started to, the frog in my throat. That's why she asked what I was eating. I didn't have dairy for dinner. But anywho, to go back to what I was saying about the puppies is that they just were in the bed, out the bed, in the bed, out the bed. And then I finally got them settled, and then one had to go out. So I had to, go let the dogs in, put the dogs out. And so I was up until late and running on fumes this morning. But it was funny because I was really excited because I had acupuncture today. I love acupuncture. If you have any sort of aches and pains and the medicine you're using isn't working, give it a try. I mean, I swear by it. It's been over 10 years. So I was like, it's okay. I can take a nap at acupuncture. That never, ever works because, first of all, I can never fall asleep when I'm super duper tired. But second of all, if I do kind of doze off, I snore so bad that I will snort and wake myself up at acupuncture. So, I got there, and like I said, I'm just freaking exhausted. And I always, go use the ladies' room before my appointment. So I go into the public restroom, I put my keys on the sink, whatever, I use the bathroom, wash my hands, I grab my keys. I'm halfway out the door when I realize I have the pump of hand soap in my other hand. I'm like, why was I stealing the soap? What is that about? Like, that's how brain dead I am. Like, I don't know if I thought it was I need my keys and my phone was in my pocket, so I needed to grab two things. What the hell is that? Who steals the soft soap from the doctor's office? I put it back. I didn't steal it, but that's kind of where my brain is tonight. So we're gonna have a ride, y'all. Let's see here. Yes. Anne Marie Harley of Antastic Creations made the shirt. So big shout out to Anne. Awesome. Yes, we have Rebecca here tonight too. Thank you for hopping on. That is awesome. Did I miss anybody? I see Kyler, I see Luna, I see Dustin. So glad everybody's on here tonight. I really love getting together with you guys on a Wednesday. Appreciate you spending your time with me. I'm just going to get a little sip here. All right. So, oh my goodness, Kyler. Everybody, please send good vibes to Kyler. He needs to get shoulder surgery on Saturday. So definitely sending love and light your way and lots of healing vibes. I hope that you have a successful surgery and a quick, comfortable, and complete recovery. You're so young for that. So I'm glad you're getting it taken care of. Yay, Lizzie's here. Lisa's here too. Hi. Thank you so much for hopping on. That is awesome. Yes, I can move. So Fantastic Creations made me All Ships Rise. I hope you can see it. Let me do this. I'll just. Ta-ta. So, for those of you who have known me for a while, you know that is my mindset as far as, like doing projects, jobs, things like that. I 100% believe in hyping up my friends. I think that success is not pie, it's not going to run out. You don't have to hoard it. So definitely hype your friends up. Speaking of, I know we have Johnny. We already gave the shout out for Fantastic Creations for Anne. Johnny is a creator of Curse of the Ghostwriter, which is a film that I am involved in and super excited about. Also, I saw Looney on here. Metal Earth is another awesome project. If you're not following that page, not part of that group, it's METLERTH, Metal Earth. Definitely follow that. We have Aaron, who is the creator of The Legend of Bloody Bones, so definitely follow him. Let's see what else we have going on. The Red Huntress, I have my poster back there, going out to Chicago probably in August to film episode 4 of that. So definitely start, if you're not already, following these indie creators, hyping up their stuff, because they don't have Hollywood budgets. They don't have, like big money. So they need eyeballs on their stuff. So definitely, like hype everything up. Yes, Dustin, I have a lot going on. So do you, sir. You are also in several of those projects as well. Let's see here. I thought I saw one more comment I wanted to throw up here. Yes. Now that shirt is in a movie too. It sure is. Keep an eye out for this shirt in a movie coming to you soon. But yeah, let's see. Oh my gosh, Kyler, you hurt your shoulder bowling? You used to bowl a lot when you were younger and must have done something recently where I'm in constant pain now. Ouch. And they want to take x-rays and possible surgery. Hopefully you won't need surgery, because that's awful. But if you do, you know what? Get it taken care of. Don't let it fester, because I'm like awful at actually addressing things until I absolutely have to. So, yeah, Johnny's saying Aaron, Lizzie, Looney, Dustin, all involved. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why all ships rise, because when the tide comes in, all ships rise. So if we're all lifting each other up, then, whoa, somebody messaged me. That scared the bejesus out of me. Let me see here real quick. Dun, dun, dun. I don't think it was on there. But anyway, I'm going to share my podcast to my Sydnee author page from my Learned and Go-Go page, as long as I'm on here checking stuff out. And anybody that wants to share this link, please do. You can share it directly from Learned and Go-Go, the podcast Facebook page, because I think that Facebook kind of doesn't really put out the YouTube stuff. They're like, no, we don't want you getting off of our platform, because they're trying to hoard the pie. They don't believe that all ships rise. But definitely, I try to, like I always say, if you guys have something on I can shout out for you, please put it in the comments. I am always so happy to share whatever you guys are up to, because I'm so proud of all of you. You are all so amazing, and I'm so blessed to have you in my life, and I'm so thankful and grateful. So I know a lot of you hopped on here because of what I named this podcast, and I didn't realize until I had so many people reach out. Thank you. I love you guys. Concerned that it sounded kind of concerning. I was actually listening. I'm going to get another sip here real quick because I'm kind of, it's like, it was at 100 again today. I know my friends in Texas are like, yeah, yeah, amateur. But in Pennsylvania, it's not that that common to get temperatures this much. So I'm kind of like out of sorts. Okay, so on my way to acupuncture today, I was listening to another podcast. Some of you know I do like it's called Body now. It used to be called Beach Body. I was a coach with them for years and everything. Now they don't have coaches anymore. But one of their trainers, Autumn, I love, love, love her workouts. And now she and Donald, who was in the cast of some of her workouts, have a podcast, just to give you guys some background. Um, Met them both, very nice people. So I like listening to the podcast. And today they were talking about friends and about how, um, different friends come and go and, like different parts of your life where you're friends with different people, and some of them you're friends with for decades and some of them come in and out. So that's what made me think about this topic. But then when I put how many friends do I really got, it's a Who song, and that's why I like, as I've been singing it all day. So for those of you who were concerned, I really, really love you and appreciate you checking on me. But yeah, it was the Who song, which there's a funny story about that too, because my favorite local musician is Mike LeCompte, and he sings that song, and I had never heard the Who song before, so I thought it was like a LeCompte song. And then when I realized it wasn't, I'm like, well, I'm an ass. Um, so yeah, that's who. That's why I named it that, because I've been singing that song all day. So sorry. Um, but yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you look for in a friend? Like, if you're going to be friends with somebody, do you have things that you absolutely are looking for? Do you have things that are 100% deal breakers? So put it in the comments. Let me know how you determine what a friend is. Um, oh yeah, Lisa, definitely check it out. It's a good song. And if you can, I don't know if Mike has a version online. I bet on YouTube he probably does. But yeah, the Who sang it originally, so it's a really good song. Can count 'em on one hand. I don't want to sing too much. I'll get flagged for copyright again. That's why we don't play Smash or Trash anymore. Um, but yeah, for me, because like I said, I'm so grateful for all of you. And to me, it doesn't matter if we're friends who spend time and physical space together or if we're online friends. I love you just, like there's no prerequisite for that for me. Like, because sometimes your online friends know more about you than the people that see you every day, because I think a lot of us spend so much time on social media now and online that those are the people that we talk to. Um, so to me, that's not, like I don't stack people like, well, these people and I go out to lunch, so they're more of a friend than somebody I never met in real life. I don't think that way. I think, you know, friends are friends, period. Um, so to me, somebody that I consider a friend is somebody that I can be like unapologetically myself around. And that's not saying that I'm ever faking it, but that I don't feel like they're going to talk down to me or say, well, I don't want to be your friend because you're a weirdo, because I am, but something like that. That's probably, yes, exactly. Lisa said it as I was saying it. Someone who is genuine. Many people are fakes. Absolutely. Luna says, I love people that are the real deal, genuine, honest, funny, quirky, ADHD, LOL scroll. That's me. Hello. Taking the soap. Yes, Johnny, modern pen pals. That's 100% true. Like being online, talking to people. It is a modern day version of pen pals. Kyler says, being there for me when I need someone to talk because my mind thinks horrible things. That's important. That is absolutely important that you have somebody that you feel comfortable talking with. And um, yeah, like it's funny because the majority of my friends, even the ones that I used to spend a lot of time with, whether it was in school or whether we went, well, like college, that's school, or like summer camp or, stuff like that. I talk to more online now than I see in real life because even my besties are an hour plus away. So it's not that we can just drop in on each other. Like I'll see them, some more than others, but it's like we have to make plans. You can't just like drop by. So I love that the online platform allows you to drop by, and just be like, hey, what's going on? Like kind of thing. Yes, I agree with you. Real recognizes real, 100%. Um, and you can tell by somebody's energy a lot of the time. Um, like sometimes people seem like they might be saying all of the right things or doing all the right things, but you have that gut feeling. And always, always trust that gut feeling because sometimes it's like somebody that you have been friends with that can flip and something happens because we're all on a different path. And sometimes your paths, like start going away from each other, and that's fine. Like you don't have to have the same interests and all that. It's when somebody's like, "Woo," and not the person you thought they were, or like you wind up hearing that maybe not they don't have your back when you're not around, like things like that. So that's kind of like, yep. So let's see here. Let me go to the comments real quick. Oh, I'm so glad. Kyler says, y'all mean so much to me. I was having such a depressing day, but y'all make it better. You make our day better too. I'm so glad you hop on here. Dustin says, I tried explaining this to my daughter the other day, how I know a lot of people have some friends and have my two ride or die best friends. Absolutely. Um, and that's true too. I think a lot of that is important to explain to especially younger people that there are different levels of friends and that who you share things with. Like you have your inner circle and then there's some other circles too. And that's fine. Like not everybody needs an invitation into your everything, you know. And it's kind of important to teach kids especially because kids can be cruel, man, and somebody you think is your friend can be like "Rah, rah, rah, rah," behind your back the next day, especially in like middle school. Middle school is the worst. So it's important that they know that somebody has to earn your trust to be let into your most, like honest thoughts and stuff. Not saying that you're dishonest if you're not sharing it, but not everybody gets a VIP ticket. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that because you need to know that somebody can be trusted with those parts of you. So let's see here. Oh, July 19th, I'm going to see Johnny and Annie. And am I going to see you too, Dustin? Tromathon. Who am I going to see there? Let's see. Yeah, and Lisa says people flip or worked hard to hide the real person. That's true too. Because some people are really, really, really good actors at hiding their intentions. Um, so that can be true too. And then when the mask comes off, it's kind of like didn't see that coming. Um, and let's see. Dustin says some friends are characters in one chapter of your book and others are throughout. Absolutely. Some are here for a reason, some are here for a season. And again, there's nothing wrong with having a friend in one part of your life that doesn't carry on to another part. And you can still remember the positives. Even if something bad happens with them, focus on the positives. I don't know how many of you guys see my positive affirmations I do every morning on my Learn to Go Go Instagram. They're also on my Sydnee Facebook page. But this morning's was joy. And I always talk about how you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react to it. So in this instance, if something terrible happened and you're not friends with somebody anymore, that doesn't mean that you can't still find the joy in the moments that you did enjoy. You don't have to sour everything. You can still be like, oh, I remember when we did this. Too bad we're never going to do it again. I'm not saying be an idiot, but you can still have nice memories of somebody that's no longer there. That's, hey, it's my cousin. Glad you're here. Awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. You have good energy in person, in your book, and now. Thank you so much. So I met Lisa at a food drive for the local radio station that I love, 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 love. And she is awesome. And you know what's really funny, Lisa, is how when we met Casey, who's one of the people that's on the show, and he thought we were like best friends and knew each other for like 10 years. And he's like, oh, how long have you guys known each other? We're like 45 minutes. Because she also has awesome energy and we just clicked immediately. So I'm so glad you're on here tonight. That is awesome. And thank you, cuz I have VIP tickets to your thoughts. You have them to mine too, and sometimes you probably might want to get up and leave the show, but you definitely have VIP tickets as well. Let's see. Rebecca says, sometimes even as an adult, it's hard to tell who is a real friend and who is just using you for something. It's really frustrating and sucks when you find out the real person they are. Absolutely. And I'm one of those people, and it's probably, could be added to the fault column, but I definitely trust people probably longer than I should. And I will do whatever I can to help anybody out. And it can take 100 times for them to screw me over before I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. Because I just always want to help. I always want to lift other people up. And sometimes it's not the best thing for me. So I understand that completely. Yes, Johnny, I see your post too. I was thinking about that person. Mortimer's not going to make it to Trimathon this year. Next year. You better come out next year. Let's see here. Yes, my brain show is always entertaining. That's so funny. Oh no, I'm so sorry you just experienced that. That sucks. And it sucks so bad because then and I'm one of those people that I play things over and over and over and over in my head a million trillion times. And then I let my anxiety get to me. And my best friend's always like, because you want everyone to think that you're nice all the time. And I am nice, I think. But I always want to have closure is my problem. And so I try to analyze the situation and be like, all right, well, what was the catalyst to make it turn left? You know what I mean? And sometimes there is none, but I will sit there and drive myself insane trying to figure it out rather than just being like, that person's an asshole. Because sometimes people are just assholes. So Anne's here. Hey. Thank you for hopping on too, Annie. I had so much fun going up to New York City with Johnny and Annie a few weekends ago. I got to see Dustin. I got to see Pam. It was so much fun. And I'm really glad because I think Annie and I got to know each other better. So it's great getting to learn more about a friend and getting closer is so cool. So that was awesome. All right, let's see. The comments are coming fast and furious. I love you guys. So the flip side of that, other than lying or whatever, what's something that when you meet somebody, you automatically know they're not going to be a good fit to be your friend? Not saying that they're horrible, they're lying, but is there something that you are just like, That's not somebody that's going to be my friend. Um, Luna jumped right in with dead eyes. That's really good. I absolutely agree with that. Back on the closure thing, Luna saying, unfortunately, closure doesn't always happen. That is true. Mortimer says, I'm a sweet, dusty old corpse till someone makes me a monster. I agree with that. Um, and Lisa says, it's okay. Played this over and over, but the lesson was learned. Usually you can find the silver lining if you have the right attitude. Exactly. Find the joy in the shitstorm. 100%. Uh, yeah. When are we going back? Let's do it. Let's do it. That was so fun. Dustin's red flags are no sense of humor, judgmental ego. 100%. Uh, I love red hats and red hats. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all know me. You're all my friends, you know. That's my thing is like and Lisa says the conversation doesn't flow or they say something mean about someone 100%. Um because that's what I was just about to say. You know that if anybody says something homophobic, transphobic, racist, like or just plain mean, like that's if especially if it's somebody that I just met, like how do you know anything about me? Why would you think that it's okay to say that about somebody else in front of me? Like why do you have to cut somebody down to feel better about yourself? So I agree with that absolutely 100%. Um and it's funny too cuz like I was hoping my sister would pop on here cuz she's got opinions, I know. But growing up with like my parents got her as a foster kid when I was 26. So there's a definite age difference. She was 10 days old, I was 26. Um, but people will like make like racist jokes around me. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? And then like, she'll come up and be like, yeah, it's my sister. And you should see their faces. It's like, you don't know anything about me or, not that you need to have a black sister to not want to hear racist things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it kind of cements it when there's somebody right in front of your face and you're just like, yeah, now you feel like an asshole because you're an asshole. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, I love all these comments. You guys are awesome. Luna says, if you're gruff with a server or stranger, the way that people treat servers is very, very telling on who they are. So I definitely pay attention if I'm out to eat with somebody and how they talk to the server. There's somebody that was like, we'll call this person a friend of a friend. And we used to go out to dinner every few months, like not a lot, but like every few months. This like it was embarrassing the way that this person would speak to servers and complain about everything and act like such an asshole. And I just wanted to climb under the table. And I'm just like, why are you speaking to this person that way? Like, they did nothing wrong. What is wrong with you? So I agree with that 100%. Mortimer says, we can all be peanut butter, no need to be jelly. All ships rise. That's going to be the theme of this evening. All ships rise. Let's see. Dustin says, they need me to support their opinion or view, otherwise I'm wrong or part of the problem. That's true too. And I will agree with that unless their opinion is racist, transphobic, homophobic, like back to that, because I don't have any patience if you don't support human rights, then that's not you have to agree with me or you're part of the problem. That's why do you feel that some people are less than? And I'll ask the question because it's very, very rare that someone will actually share why they feel that way. Because then they would have to admit that they think that some people are less than. So it's an interesting thing to call people on that. Lizzie says, yeah, basically don't be a bigot or a pedo. We ain't got no time for that. 100%. Yes. Dictums. That is one of my absolute favorite words because, okay, and I know who you're talking about. So there are people in this world who like to stir the shit pot. They like to create drama and create problems. And then when you call them on it, they become a victim. I don't understand why everyone's being mean to me because you started this shit and you got called on it. So we call them dictums because you're acting like a victim, but you're really just a dick. So you're a dictum. Thank you. I love that you you put that in there. That's fantastic. Dustin says, I dislike people who make you choose sides. The whole if you aren't with me, you're against me. Yep. And again, I'm guilty of being that way with a certain mindset of not treating people like people. That's where I draw a hard line. Kyler says, breaking a promise when you have the ability to do it, but decide to do something for your own benefit. Yes. Don't care that you couldn't do something for me or get me something, but don't break a promise. That is a 100% fact. Like to me, if you make a commitment, whether it's spending time with somebody, whether it's I can grab that for you, whether it's like it doesn't even have to be something you spend money on, but just like I'm there, I'm going to be there for you, and then it doesn't happen. Okay, let me preface this by saying shit happens. Sometimes you can't follow through. The difference is communicate that. Communicate. I say this all the time. This is going to be on my gravestone. Communicate. I say it all the time. If something came up and you can't follow through, let the person know. It's that easy. It's that easy. And it's really like stops a whole lot of other things from happening and going wrong. Like as long as you're communicating what's going on, I got stuck in traffic, or my kid got sick, or I don't feel like it anymore. That's a valid reason. Sometimes you just have had a fucking day and you can't do it. You just don't have the bandwidth in your brain anymore. But definitely say it. And don't lie about it, because when you lie about it, you're going to get caught, and then that starts a whole other drama. So, oh my goodness. Yes. Hey, Pam. Pam says, sometimes people just need to keep their mouths shut. That is great advice. That is 100% great advice. Luna says, I don't tolerate seeing abuse, sexual or physical, 100%, or mental, emotional, or animal. 100%. Yes, and you put shaming people, also verbal abuse, 100%. I think Lisa likes dictums too. We all know some. Mm-hmm. Lizzie says, oh my God, also no devil's advocates. He doesn't need your advocacy. Either you have a real point to make or you don't. I like that. Yep. And Anne says communication is key, 100%. Mortimer, what did you say? Why is YouTube mad at you? Oh my goodness. I'm like so curious what you said, because a couple weeks ago you said something and it wasn't even anything bad. I can't remember what it was now. I don't want you to say it again. Let's see. And Lisa says, be honest. I would rather hear an ugly truth more than a pretty lie. Exactly, because the truth always comes out. It always does. What's that phrase? What's done in the dark will be seen in the light. Like, so it doesn't matter. It's kind of like how I used to, and I still do to some point. It's something I'm working on, but I'm a feelings stuffer, like, because sometimes I just feel like, either it's not the right time to talk about it, or, I kind of minimize my own feelings sometimes, which I'm 100% wrong to do. I'm not going to say it's the right thing, but I found that when I stuff all of my feelings down at a completely inappropriate time, something's going to happen and they're all just going to come busting out. So it makes more sense, and it's happier for everyone involved to just say it initially and not just be like, it's not that big of a deal if it is a big deal to me, or something like that. Because then, like, somebody cuts you off in the Walmart and you're throwing a can of baked beans at their head because you just have all of this pent up emotion. So share your emotions, stay out of jail. Let's see. Lizzie says, I like that. I don't have the bandwidth for this. Going to add that to the Rolodex. I love you for using Rolodex. We all know what age group we are here. Somebody explain it to Kyler. But the rest, I love you, Kyler. But the rest of us know what a Rolodex is. Uh, they don't like how I respond if I say anything about a mop. I think I know who uses a mop, but I don't know why that would be. Okay, we've got a lot of stuffers here in the comments. I'm glad I'm in good company. And I like that Lisa says, like the Indigo girls say, the hardest thing to learn is the least complicated. And it is, and it's all because we're scared of judgment on some level. Even when we say, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks, there's that little kid in us that, you know what, it's not even a little kid, because that was one of the things they were talking about on the podcast I mentioned earlier, is when you're a kid, and there's a kid next door, you guys wind up going, hey, you want to play? Yeah, look, I got a new jump rope. I got a new basket. Let's go play. It's when you get older that you get scared of judgment. It's that middle school bullshit. And now it's happening a lot younger. I've been noticing that kids are a lot more judgmental earlier than they were in our day. I'm going to go shake my cane, get off my lawn. But let's see here. So Mortimer says it was about dealing with bad people. Let's see. With Lisa says a mop to stir a pot of soup. So when I think of a mop, I think of, like Kyler said, Toxic Avenger and Toxie, the Terma movie. So I don't know if it had to do with that. Kyler, are you hating me for calling you young? Nothing wrong with being young. Do you know what a Rolodex is? Was I out of line assuming that you didn't, because they haven't been around for many, 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 many years? But yeah, you'll have to PM me what you said, Mortimer, because I'm not connecting the dots. Like I said, it's been a day. My brain is not working. Okay, exactly. That's how I handle business. Gotcha. Oh, Kyler thinks that he had a Rolodex. Really? Interesting. I haven't had the last Rolodex that I had was actually, and it was more of a card file than a Rolodex. It didn't spin, but it was for different kinds of drinks when I was a bartender, because like going through a book would take too long. So if there was something that I wasn't familiar with, I could just flip through the cards. Hey, there's my sister. She must have heard us talking about her. What's up, sissy? Glad you're hopping on here. So, to catch anybody up that has just recently joined us, we are talking about friends, what you look for in a friend, things that would be an absolute deal breaker for somebody to be your friend, and Rolodexes. And the Toxic Avenger. You didn't do anything, sweetie. Okay, so to give my sister context, I'm just going to go back over. We were talking about things that are deal breakers for friends. And I was saying anybody who is homophobic, transphobic, racist, mean, stuff like that. And I was saying about how I've had people think that they can say racist things around me, and then you'll come up and I'll be like, oh, it's my sister. And they're just like, dum, dum, dum. And I'm saying you don't have to have a black sister for it to not be acceptable to be a racist dickhead. But it was just like funnier because, when we're out hanging out together and people are like, who's that? And I'm like, my sister. And then they look at me like I'm full of shit. And I'm like, no, that's really my sister. That's so funny. All right, we're getting all the haze. Oh, Luna says, I think I have a Rolodex still. I'll look tomorrow. Oh my gosh, if you do, send a picture because I will use it for when I share the podcast later. I'll be like, this is what you missed. Okay, so the Rolodex that Kyler had a lot of a bunch of horror facts. because I just got Mortimer's message. I will share it in 1 second. Because typically, what a Rolodex was where you would keep all of the phone numbers for friends, business contacts, stuff like that. So, you would flip through to find your contact, and then it would have, address, phone number, maybe some facts about it. But it was all in like a circular thing that could spin, and it would have the cards. That's why it's a Rolodex. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Lisa says send it along with a rotary phone. I sometimes I miss having a house phone, but most of the time I don't. But I remember having the rotary phones back in the day. I remember having the phone with like the 100-foot cord, so you could walk all around the house with your phone before they had cordless phones. Um, Man, yeah, that's different time, man. I love the post that I saw that was like, we actually used to pick up the phone and have no idea who was calling us. Like it's the Wild West, man. Like you just didn't know. And then like before answering machines, you could call somebody and then like if you didn't call them back right away, they had no idea. No idea you called. It could be weeks before you talked to them because you weren't home at the same time. Before answering machines, they had no idea you called. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So Mortimer's comment was to her bad people, he sticks a mop up their keister meester. So I guess YouTube did not like that visual. Right. So Mortimer says, let's break out the telegraph. Some of the killers were American Psycho centered. That's interesting. Yes, Luna, the kitchen phone that you could go into the living room or bedroom, 100%. Johnny says, friend or family, actions speak louder than words. If you want to be in someone's life, show it. We all get busy, but with modern technology, there's no excuse for a relationship to be one sided. 100%. And that's something that, again, I've gotten better at. I'm really good at returning messages. I'm not that great at initiating them, so I try to make sure like if I haven't talked to somebody in a couple of days that I send a hey, how you doing? Like kind of just checking in, just saying I was thinking about you. And I do that a lot now too. If somebody pops into my head, I'll send them a message or a text and just be like, "Hey, you just popped into my head. I hope you're good." Because that can mean a lot to somebody. You don't know what somebody's going through. So just saying somebody's thinking about you, I hope you're having a good day, can really help. It raises the vibration. Uh, yes, Lisa. Whoops. Yes, I'm a message returner. I'm a much better returner. But I like that you said Star 69 thought it was cutting edge technology because it was. And then Star 67, so you could like block your number when you were calling people when caller ID first came out. Sneaky, sneaky stuff. I always think about that now, like slumber parties. Can you even prank call people? I don't think you can because with caller ID, they're going to know you're calling, you know? And that's the other thing. Like I'm a much better texter messenger than I am phone call person. And I think it's because I don't sit still. And I don't know if you guys know, I have like hearing loss in my left ear, so I can only use the phone on my right ear. So after a while, like this or like this gets really taxing. So I try to use AirPods now, and that's helped me to be a better phone person. But my best friend, who we've been friends since we were 8, um, like she lives in New Zealand. She moved to New Zealand, gosh, 20 years ago now. But because of modern technology and Facebook Messenger, we can talk on the phone for free because it's through Messenger. So usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we talk every week. And I'm always like, hold on, I'm putting in the AirPods because I don't know, like I'm not diagnosed ADHD, but I would guarantee you I could get a diagnosis if I went to get tested because I can't not be doing things. So, I'm trying to get better with the phone call thing, but you absolutely can reach out to people and just say, "I was just thinking about you. Like how you doing? Hope things are good." Let's see here. Oh my gosh, I love all these. Uh, Angela says, I had a conversation with my coworkers today about remembering life before Mac machines, and they didn't know what I was talking about. Okay, so they were first in Philly. So that's why we're all like, this area, we're going to go tap Mac. That means you're going to the ATM machine. But when we lived in Millville in New Jersey, where we lived from when I was in preschool to second grade, so we're talking 78, 79 to 82, 83, because it would have been June 83 when we moved. I remember my mom, the first ATM machine I ever saw was named George. And that was the machine. It was an ATM machine and it said George across the top. And that was the first time that I ever saw somebody put a card in and get money out of a machine. And it was fascinating. Then it became Mac. So around here, it's like, oh, we're going to go out to dinner. Yeah, I just got to tap Mac real quick. And we still say that. So I love that you still use Mac machine. That is fantastic. Luna says it's a pet peeve of mine a bit having a one-side relationship. You're the one that initiates calls, visits, etc. Yes, and I agree with that. And that's why I said like when I notice times going by, I'll reach out, because everybody is busy, but like Johnny said, there's so many different ways to get in touch with somebody now. Even if you send an email, like because you can't have a conversation in that moment, that's the kind of a way to reach out and say, I'm thinking about you, like, like I'm at the doctor's office, so I can't really like talk right now. But even then I still message people from the waiting room. But it's important. And that's what feeds friendships, because friendships are like plants. If you don't feed and water them, they're not going to grow. And I'm saying that as somebody that kills plants all the time, but I try really hard to keep my relationships and friendships growing, because you need to, let me use a different saying. What you Wait, what is it? It's shit. Just fell out of my head. Basically what it means is what you focus on is what's going to grow. Um there's an actual like phrase for it, but I can't remember it right now because brain fog is real, ladies and gentlemen. Perimenopause is a bitch. All right, let's see here. Mortimer says, I love to moonwalk in a raincoat when chopping wood and listening to Hip to Be Square. Thank you. I'm so glad you shared that with us. And it says, I'm just thankful dial up is a thing of the past. Absolutely. Yes. That would take like, I'm going to send an email 3 hours from now because it would be doing the ka-chang, 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 ka-chang thing. Mm-hmm. And then somebody in another phone would pick it up and knock you offline. Oh, that was so annoying. Yes, Lisa, caller ID and CSI teams. They're spoofing. Is spoofing like a way to block your call? Oh, you mean like when they're calling and it looks like somebody else is calling? I hate that too. Yes, thankfully long distance is obsolete. When I was in college, I had the MCI card. Do you remember when MCI was a long distance company? And it was always like a big thing to talk to my boyfriend because we'd have to arrange a time that we'd both be available and be like, all right, we got 10 minutes, like and then it's like I had to check how much time was left on the card. Like, all right, we have 2 minutes and 45 seconds, like, and it was expensive. When I was in, it must have been no. It was when I was a senior in high school, same boyfriend, but it was before I went away to college, because the summer in between high school and college, we both worked at the same summer camp. And he lived a long distance call away. My parents came to the camp to let me know that the long distance bill was $600. and make sure I paid it. And that was like, I think half of what I made the entire summer as a camp counselor. But it was from calling him. Hi. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's really funny that you said they had names. And then you said, was that a Cumberland County thing? It might have been just my mom's bank, actually. Um, I can picture it was red and in white, it just said George. And that was the name of the thing. I've only ever heard George and Mac. I've never heard a different name because Mac was it Money Access Center? I think was what Mac stood for. But and now people say they're going to the ATM machine, which is the automatic teller machine. Let's see here. Time zone is our enemy, 100%, because we would talk a lot more if you weren't 2 time zones away, for sure. Lisa says, like the saying goes, it's the thought that counts. I think it was an episode of Absolutely Fabulous where the grandmother says, it's the thought that stinks. And like every time I hear the thought that counts, I think of her. It's the thought that stinks, dear. Let's see. Luna says, I've liveth, I like that. I've liveth many places and I take friends away with me. That's awesome. Yes, perimenopause is an ass. I like that you call it peri. I'm going to start doing that. And like maybe I'll get a Perry the platypus that I can be like, let's say, long distance is ridiculous, 100%. Oh, good night, Johnny. Have a good walk. Love you, buddy. And Lisa says, remember Bell telephone? Uh-huh. Reach out and touch someone. Yes. I do remember that. So I actually took the test to work for I think it was New Jersey Bell at the time because they kept changing the name of it, and I passed. But I said I just want to work in Burlington County, and they kept giving me places in Camden and Gloucester, which if you're not familiar with New Jersey, was over an hour away from where I lived. And at the time, I was like, nah, I'm a freaking idiot because the amount of benefits that the phone company offered, but my 21-year-old self was stupid and wasn't thinking of that. I was just like, I really want to drive an hour away. Meanwhile, I was driving an hour to the titty bar, but whatever. If that had happened, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all tonight. So, you switch one little thing in your life and everything goes blah, blah, butterfly. Oh, you're from Burlington County too. I always say I'm from Burlington because we lived in township from 3rd grade to 10th grade. So that's where I spent a lot of my formative years because we moved around a lot. But that's awesome. See, that's why we were like, boom, we connected. Burlington County girls. That's awesome. So how has it been like 52 minutes already, guys? This has been a really great discussion. I have been loving this discussion. So I had another thing on tap for tonight. I'm going to save that for next week because I want to give that enough time to flourish. Yes, and I wouldn't have written that book. That is 100% true. Okay, I know Holy Cross people. Okay. In Riverside, I definitely am familiar with. Yeah, 100%. That's awesome. So you weren't that far from township. Just right down Route 130. But yes, as Lisa mentioned, my book, I'm going to pop this up again. Everything I Need to Know I Learned in Go-Go, How a Preacher's Daughter Pole Danced Her Way to Finding Her True Self. And you can get your copy at learnedingogo.com. You can get it. The links there are for Amazon, for getting it directly from me, which means it will be personalized. You get a super cool bookmark, a playlist, and free shipping in the 48 United States that are, what is that, contingent? I can never say that word. Contiguous? The not Alaska and Hawaii, because that costs more. The other ones. So thank you to everybody who's bought a copy. It's available on paperback and ebook. So hopefully audiobook soon. I've been talking with a friend of mine from summer camp in high school who has an audiobook and podcast producing company. So if you are interested in doing either of those things, I can hook you guys up. So that would be awesome. Continental U.S. Is that the word? But isn't there a word for the 48? They say like the contingent. like the states that are all together. What's the word? Oh my goodness. Love you too, Annie. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks. Oh, are you going too, Lisa? Have a good night. Um, yeah, I'm gonna look up that word because it's pissing me off. But anyway, if you're in Hawaii and Alaska, I think it costs a little bit more. So let's play pick a page for the last little bit because we didn't get to do that last week. So I'm going to throw up my pick a page, not throw up, but you know what I'm saying. So let's do my book, pick a page between 1 and 306. Oh, I definitely want to get on Audible. That is my goal. So, yes, contingent. That sounds right too. But I feel like I'm going to look it up. I'm going to say, what do you call the 48 states that touch each other? Yeah, see? I'm not the only one looking this up. Google's like, I know what you're talking. God damn it. CONTIGUOUS. Contiguous. Contiguous? Why can't I say that word? I think it's contiguous. All right. So first up is Lizzie with 270. You were close with contingent, Lizzie. Contiguous. 270. Dun, dun, dun. This is the moment when their brain can go to see. They can't even put the toothpaste cap back on. How many times have I asked them to do that? But do they ever listen? Do they ever listen to anything I say? And the snowball starts rolling and growing until just about every instance in the relationship when they have felt disrespected is mentally listed as evidence to what a shithead their partner is. This is a chapter about communication and how you need to say things and not let your feelings get stuffed. That's a really good page, Lizzie. You knew. You're like, you know what we've been talking about? We've been talking about this. Quick, everybody say goodnight to Kyler. Love you. Thanks for hopping on. All right, Luna's picking 209. 209 is... Oh, it's chapter 13. Fantasy versus exploitation. You have to follow the rules. That's the name of chapter 13. Several people and organizations have spoken out against gentlemen's clubs over the years because they claim that these establishments exploit women. I feel it's important to add this little nugget of information to the fact pack of those who consider gentlemen's clubs exploitative. When I worked as a secretary, I was subjected to as much, if not more, sexual harassment than when I walked around a club in a thong and heels. That is 100% true. That office was the Wild West, man. Yeah. So let's do one more page. Somebody put in all right, Mortimer's right on it. He's like 299. That's 289. 299. At the end of the night, the DJ made an announcement that I would be leaving after that night, and I danced to an extra set. The club was packed because of the party, so it was a good night to pick for my last. I got some extra tips. Victoria had the DJ play a silly song for me. Then my now husband asked the DJ to play Ba Wada Ba by Kid Rock for my finale. It was a fitting way for me to spend my final 4.5 minutes on stage as Sydnee. When Kid Rock opens the song screaming, "My name is Kid," I would scream, "My name is Sid," which is absolutely true. So, my name is Sid. That's funny. I remember that. And when I wrote this, I didn't know that I would be back working out at the bar, which now that chapter is closed as well because my manager friend passed away. But I have my home pole. So I just need to get my rotator cuff and my pinched nerve to behave themselves so that I can use it. But it's a lot of fun. And you know what else is a lot of fun? Hanging with all of my friends. I love you guys so much. And again, thank you to those who reached out thinking that the name of tonight's podcast indicated something negative. Like I said, it's just a Who song, and that was popping into my head when I thought about the subject. And I thought it would be a really good one to cover. So I'm really glad you guys popped in the comments with your experiences, with your, I think somebody just fell out of the bed. I hope everybody's okay. I think it was probably a dog, but something, the whole house just shook. That scared me. But thank you for popping in the comments and sharing what you think makes a good friend and what you think makes a bad friend. And definitely lift each other up. When the tide comes in, all ships rise. I definitely live by that. And, there's enough success for everyone. There's definitely something to be said with having an attitude of gratitude and an abundance mindset. That's changed my life. Just knowing that when you give of yourself to other people, it raises the vibration and therefore brings positive energy back on you. Not to get all woo woo, but I am woo woo. I really think it's that multiplication, like what you give out comes back to you. So if you're a negative shithead, then that's going to come back to you. If you are a positive person, that's going to come back to you. And of course, we all have ebbs and flows, and like there's going to be positive and negatives in all of our lives. But if you can handle things with a positive spin, you're going to have a much better life in the long run. That's all I'm saying. So until next time, my loves, when you do have those negative times, make sure you hit them head on, because when you stick your head in the sand, you think you're hiding from the world, but everybody just sees a big ass. Love ya.